Hello. Hi, you. How are you doing tonight? I'm sitting here in my cabin. It's evening. I slept most of the day. It's a day off for me. And I wanted to do a serious amount of filming. However, sleeping most of the day, I'm not going to get as much done today as I wanted to. But that's all right. There's always tomorrow and I'll catch up. But one thing you guys haven't seen from me this month yet is my finished pages for February. In fact, you haven't seen all of my pages for January. So we're going to get caught up, and I'm going to try to do it in one video, but if it gets long, I'll split it in two. So the last completed pages I did was January 1st through 15th. So I still have the 15th through the 31st, and then all of February. So let's check in with what I'm drinking tonight. Tonight, this crazy concoction is chocolate almond milk. It's made by Silk, and it's called dark chocolate on it. It's really, really good. And then I put marshmallows in it, of course. Oh, that's good and rich, because everything's better with marshmallows. Okay, so in January, I did 23 finished pages. So we're going to see about half of those, the last half that I haven't shown yet. But the nice thing is I did 4 mythographics and 2 mythogorias. So that's 6 that month. And I was kind of hoping to do 4 a month as an average. That's great, because my focus this year is my mythos, mythographics, mythogoricas. I mean, mythogoricas are coming, but mythographics, mythogorias, and soon we're going to have mythogoricas. It's going to be some sort of hybrid. I don't know. I haven't seen previews of it yet. And then in February, 5, 10, 15, 20, I did 20 pages. So we're going to see all 20 of those. And then what was left in January, I did 14 buddies. I worked in 9 new books and 3 color by numbers and 1 PDF. And I did 2 mythographics and 2 mythogorias. So my total so far this year is 6 mythographics and 4 mythogorias. So I've done 10 in 2 months. That's fantastic. I'm doing well on my goal. All right, let's look at some pages. Now, I just brought the whole pile of books out. They're not in any order. I'm just going to grab them and we'll go through them. All right. First, I'd like to start off with something I did in February, and that's this beautiful PDF. Now, this is by Denise Coloring Art. It's Denise Escobar, and she goes by Denise Coloring Art on Etsy. And I love her. I purchase all of her PDF books. I love her style. It's very sketchy. I love her people. They're fantastic. I've done quite a few of hers. And this was a buddy with Christine from CJA Color 580. And here is her Instagram handle. And Christine discovered that I loved Denise Escobar, and so asked if I'd like to do a page out of her Winter Fairies book, which I didn't have at the time, so I purchased it because PDF books are, super cheap. And I did it. And she gives you, when you purchase her books, she gives you a couple different options of different ink color. So I've never done a blue printed image. So I printed out the blue version. She had a black and a blue, and I think a sepia. I can't remember. Sometimes she offers a sepia. I printed the blue. So this is blue ink, which made it easier. And then I colored it blue with alcohol markers, various blues. And I used a blue sparkling metallic watercolor, this, which I got right off of Temu. I was ordering some of those sticker books. No, some Langro pens, and I saw this and I'm like, I'm going to try it. I don't have any decent metallic watercolors, and you know what? They're not bad. They don't cover very well, so it's good to use them on top of other things. But they are very, very sparkly, very shimmery. And so that's the shimmer here is the blue, and the shimmer there's the green. All the shimmery stuff is from that set, and the rest is alcohol markers. There is some acrylic happening here, I believe. And then there's some distress ink lightly rubbed around. So I kind of made her more into a mermaid than a fairy. But I really liked it, and I love working on PDFs. It's so much fun. So let's look at Christine's. I love that we went complete opposites on this. Sometimes my buddies and I just on accident make it look the same, and sometimes we go complete opposites, and hers is definitely a winter fairy, and it's very beautiful. And it was so fun to see them side by side because they are so different, especially with printed out in different colors. So this was a lot of fun. I love coloring Denise's artwork, and I'm up for a buddy anytime with her stuff, because it's just so easy and so enjoyable to color. So thank you, Christine, and thank you for your beautiful artwork. It was really fun doing this page with you, and I hope we do it again sometime. Okay, so that's Denise coloring art. Next, I want to show you a couple pages out of Coloriages Mystères Fantastique. Now, I have always been interested in this book. You have to get it off of Amazon France or Lyrica. I think it's an older book. But I found this one on Mercari, which is a used site like eBay. And I get a lot of things off of there, a lot of coloring books and coloring supplies. You have to be careful because often shipping is additional, so you need to add that in. But there is always an opportunity to offer a lower price, and almost always my lower offers have been accepted. So I got a bundle of Japanese and French books from this one seller, which was nice because then I don't have to purchase them from Japan or France. And the shipping was $5 for all three of these versus, $18 a piece. So I think it came out to like $12 to $16 per book, which is still a lot for a used book, but there was only one colored picture in all three. And they were in great condition, and that's better than I could get anywhere else. And they were books that I really wanted. So one of them was this one, which is a strange book. I mean, look at the way the cover is. It's like chipboard, just glued on the outside. But this very weird spine makes it so it lays completely flat, which is awesome. So I did a page in January and I did a page in February. So let's look at the January page, and that's this one. Now, we are all adults here, right? This is a little risque, but this is my girl, my devil girl. Now, this book these spaces are teeny tiny. I mean, I have small hands, and look at how little. I mean, these spaces, let's look at the opposing page. A lot of people don't like this book because it's so teeny tiny. It's so detailed. My camera won't even focus on it. It's so many colors. And because of that, a lot of people, you'll find this book a lot on resale sites, eBay and Pango and all that. So you can usually find this book without paying very much money for it. I love it. It is double-sided, but it's typical Hatchet Hero paper. I use the Languo pens mostly. If I can't find the color in the collection of Languo pens I have, those acrylic pens, those fine liners, I go to my acrylic paint pens, and usually I can find it in my Thule art collection, and if not there, I go to my miscellaneous like cheapo acrylic pens, and I find it. And I think she's fantastic. I really love that they called for this bright purple. I thought that was cool. And then I think her horns were a gray, but I made them a shimmery silver instead. Now let me show you those Languo pens. I did find a good way to store them, a way that I'm really enjoying. Where did I put them? They're always right here. Always right here, because I use them on almost every single page. So here they are. I'm storing them like this in this cute little plastic container. I think I picked up at Walmart or something. And I keep them, most people take them out and put them in color order, which makes a lot more sense. But because I talk about them a lot in videos, I'm keeping them in the packages. I've had a couple of videos that I've done on these, and I want to be able to talk about them in the concept of sets so that I can help people find them, because they are a little confusing. You find these on Chinese sites like Temu and AliExpress. I think you could find them on Aladdin. But often you're looking on sites that have no English or very little English. So I do have videos breaking down how to find them with the numbers on the packages. So check those videos out. And the most latest one goes through each one of these packs and gives you the numbers on the back and stuff. Both of them do, really. But as I supplement, as they come out with new colors and I supplement my set with those colors, I put out another video to help you find them. You can also find them on Amazon, but you're going to pay at least twice as much. So I recommend one of the other sites that you feel comfortable with. So I use these on almost everything, including this book. I love them on this book. They just do so well. So I did this one in January, and then I did this one in February and finished it at the end of the month. And I don't look at the solutions before I start. I just start. So imagine my delight when I found out it was a Gorgon and all those snakes, because it's the year of the snake and February was the Chinese New Year. So that just really worked out perfectly. Again, she's all acrylic pens, and the neat thing about it being such tiny little spaces is it gives you a lot of detail. So these pages turn out really cool, I think. And then I paint, because I make the margins so messy with me, my trying different pens, I paint it black so that I don't have to see that mess. Now I'm currently working on one with a buddy in March, and it's this one, and I think it's going to eventually go this direction, but I'm not sure. This one is very colorful. It's got lots of colors. I think it looks like it has wings, and this might be a giant mouth because these brown things look like teeth. Yeah, I don't think it goes this way. I think it's going to go this way, but I don't have a clue what it is. So that's what I'm working on for March. So that's Coloriages Mystères Fantastique, a color by number that I absolutely adore. What I do is I pull out all the pens. I spend, about an hour finding the right colors for that page. I put all the pens that I'm using, and see, I pull from a lot of different places. These are the Languos. I try those first because they're the most enjoyable to use. And then I go to my acrylics. This is New Top. This is a cheap acrylic marker that I have that I kind of like, a paint pen. And then the Ohuhus and the Grabies, which are exactly alike. And then I just, every now and then, I don't have any tulies for this page. I found the right, my tulies are expensive, so I try to use the cheaper things first on these color by numbers. But sometimes the Thule just has the perfect color. So, and then I could take this book, which is pretty much indestructible with its chipboard cover, and these colors, and I can just stick them in my bag, and whenever I have a few moments, I color my color by number. It's a lot of fun. All right, let's look at the next page. Okay, so next we have dimensions. Now I have a group, an Instagram chat group, where we're all working on this lovely book. And the February page was the B page. Now, this B page, let me turn it up a little bit. This B page, everybody did such beautiful colors. They did like honey color and yellows and blacks and blues, things you would expect on a bee. And by the time I got around to doing it, I was like, I don't have any ideas, because it seems like all the ideas I had been done. So I decided I'd just do it in reds and make it kind of spooky. And now I really like it. And I made the honeycomb, because I want everything to stand out, I made the honeycomb in blacks. So this was the first time I added some embellishments that wasn't just alcohol markers. So I did alcohol markers, of course, especially back in here, to make it so that the shadows that are already on the page will shine through and give it that 3D look. But then I used some super golden marker for the shiny stuff, and I used a glaze. Was it the Mod Podge? Yes, it was a Mod Podge glaze, because I have glossy accents, but it was these big spaces, and I decided to try something else. And I made it so it looked very liquidy. So these are shiny and very liquidy, and I really, really loved it. I had so much fun with this. And I just put it on with a toothpick, and I really like it. It's creepy. I love the dimensionality, but it's not so, this stuff is shiny and feels neat, but it's not so raised that it would, like if it was a double page, you could still color on this side. Yeah, you can't even feel it. You can feel it a little bit, but not like if it was like a big mound of stuff. So that was the B page, and that was fun. I almost didn't do this because I just couldn't get inspired, and I'm really glad I kept thinking about it because I like how it turned out. And then March's page was this book is really filling up, was this dragon. Now, this one was the first time I used stuff other than alcohol markers. So looking at my notes, I based it in the Tim Holtz watercolor distress crayons, which is very unusual for me in this book. And I wasn't sure it wouldn't cover up the shading, but it didn't. The shading came through because I put a pretty light coat on. And so that was nice. So watercolor works in this book and still lets the shading show through. It's shiny because it's fixed. So that's why it's so shiny. I'm trying to hold it so that it doesn't glare on you. Because I also used Prismas and Languo pens. So just for some to cover up the lines was the Languo pens. And then the Prismas, I added a little more shading where I wanted to add shading. But it's pretty much all Tim Holtz Distress. Now the white is probably a white Posca pen that I kind of scribble and then I take my finger and rub it. So that's probably what that is, and I didn't write that down. But I made a red dragon. Now, I know you've been seeing these guys. It's a big group, so I won't put all their pages in here. It's just too much for me to do. But you'll see them on Instagram, and there's so many beautiful dragons. There's pinks and purples and greens and reds and just gorgeous dragons. So this was a lot of fun. What month are we now? March. March's page is in here, I promise. Look at how many we've done. It's so much fun to get this colored and to see a book come together like this. Like, I think this might have surpassed Vengeful Forest in being my most colored in book. I don't know, I'll have to check. Or Cosmic Spirit. Those are my top most colored in books. I can't wait till I do that one. You see how the shading, it makes these pages look really 3D. I thought it was in the back, but I guess it's in the front. I haven't looked at it yet, and I have no ideas for it yet. It's the Sun and Moon. That one was a lot of fun. I think that was my favorite one I did. Hold on. I did find it. The thing is that I've seen it colored already, and it looked very different. So this is the one we're doing for March. And I have no ideas yet. But if you want to join us, that's the page we're doing. You can join our chat group. Just let me know. Or if you just want to do the page on your own, and that's what we're doing for March in this fun book Dimensions. All right, let's see what I did next. Okay, this really super fun book. I am so excited. I did my first page in this one, and it was a buddy with Jana from Joyful Coloring Mindset, and Jana had just gotten her book too. I just love the cover of this book. It's just so great. This is I think my favorite one of hers. It's so adorable. And we did the goblin that was looking at the fairy. Yeah, we did this one. And this was done, I keep trying different fake bokeh backgrounds. I haven't yet come up with a method that I like, but this was these would have been oil pastels that I used. Which type of oil pastels? Oh, it was the Tim Holtz gel crayons that I used. So the background was all Tim Holtz gel crayons, which I love. And I think her face was too, wasn't it? It was, with some alcohol marker on it as well. So there's a little Tim Holtz, and then there's alcohol marker on top. And the rest of this is alcohol markers. So it was all alcohol markers, and then just, even for shading, I don't think I did any pencil on this at all. And then the gel crayons, which I love. I've been getting them as I find them on used sites, because, again, that's another medium that a lot of people got and then didn't really know how to use or care for it. I think they're great. And this was really bright and fun. Now, I got to show you Jana's. So here's Jana. Doesn't it look like our goblins could be in the same meadow? I mean, this one is interesting because they're so alike. It's fun. That's what makes buddy coloring so much fun, is it can be very different or very much the same. And this was interesting that we both did it like our goblins are in the same meadow looking for fairies. Now, I don't know if this goblin wants to give that fairy a little kiss or wants to eat that fairy, but there she is. So thank you, Jana, for buddying with me. I really enjoyed it. Denise Klette's books are always come out so bright and wonderful. I don't know why I don't color in them more. So I really need to get these out more. I don't have a Denise Klette page in my March plans, which you will see, but I don't know. Oh, that's adorable. I don't know. One may creep in because her pages are just so much fun and they need to be colored more. All right, let me show you next. All right, what would a month be without my favorite coloring book, the Yokai coloring book? So this is by Davy Yakusa, and this is a really, really fun book. As you know, I love this book. I have a flip through of this on the channel, in case you're interested. And I have a group with True Not Cat, Kathy. Here's her Instagram. And we just recently added, who did we add? I know she's screaming at me right now. Let me look it up. We added, I'll put who we added right here, because I don't want to hold you up in the video. But I know that we added another person to this group. So there's 3 of us at least working on it. And if you want to work in this book with us, we pick like 3 at a time and then we just work on them. And when we finish, we pick 3 more. So we've been sort of doing one a month. I've skipped a month here and there. They've skipped a month here and there. But one of the current 3 that we're doing, I started in February and finished in March. Started in January and finished in February. Well, I'm going to do that the whole time. And did this Ringo no Kai. No, this is the Narigama. I did the Narigama. And this is where he has a flaming kettle for a head. And they're powerful soothsayer. They can predict the future. You simply place them over a fire as you would make tea. Then take note of the sound it emits, which indicates the answer to your mystical question. So whatever scream it emits, that somehow tells you your answer. Now, my group did this really fun, and I'll show you their pages here. They're the ones that we've gotten so far. I know at least one person has finished this one, and it was really good. And then, and I loved it. And then I came back and looked at mine, and I was like, oh dear. I used sometimes I use these pages as experiments. So I was experimenting with some, I think this is with different watercolor mediums. And the paper really just doesn't handle watercolor too well. It kind of slides around a bit. It's not bad. This is an effect I kind of wanted on the wall. And this looks like Kuretake Gansai Tambi. And then I tried some oil pastels in here, which worked well. And then this rough here, this was another Gansai Tambi paint. And then there were just some regular water-soluble oil pastels here. Those were, I think that's user error. They're very streaky, but then I kind of just wanted it really rough and dingy and streaky. The floor turned out a way that I liked. And then him I did mostly in oil pastels. And I eventually just called this page done. I wasn't into trying to fix it or make it look better than it looks. And it was, it's fine. The next one I'm working on that's in the group is Ringo no Kai, this apple-headed guy. So the 3 we're doing currently is the Narigama, the Ringo no Kai, and I believe it's the guy crouching, yes, the Ganji Kozo. So these are the 3 we're working on now. I think I'm going to go move on to the apple-headed guy. He's hilarious. He's the one that comes to your house and demands to eat your poop. And then he tells you it's delicious and demands that you eat it with him. Yeah. Why he has an apple-shaped head, I don't know. He's gross. But all of these are. I mean, this whole book is full of really funny stuff. This is my drag queen yokai. I love him. But it's just, they're all just crazy and a lot of fun. And so if you have this book or want to color a page with us, want to join in on those 3 that we're doing right now, just let me know. Okay, let me show you what's next. All right. This was a page out of 25 Days of Kindness. I haven't worked enough in this book. And so Jen at Chromatic Dilettante, she offered to do a page with me in this, and we chose this one. Is that not adorable? And I'm finally trying to be a little bit more, do a little bit more with the Matchstick Mouse pages. I tend to do her pages in like just straight alcohol and then I'm done. I don't even shade. Well, I at least shaded here. I think it's still just all alcohol markers, yep, but I shaded. And I'm going to add this to my hashtag Color a Tiny Town. So this one is going to go into the winter section of our tiny town that we're building. I have enough to put together a video on what we've got so far on the tiny town, including the Christmas village. And so I'm putting that together while I'm at work and I have some downtime, and I'll get that out to you and you'll see what our town looks like so far. We have a lot of fun things. And this is going to go in the winter leading up to Christmas section. Don't think I'll put it in the Christmas village, although if it fits, it might. I mean, because it's not necessarily Christmas, but just bringing some presents and food. I guess maybe with the present, yeah, maybe it should go in the Christmas section. But it's got a present and some food, and they're taking it to a friend. Now, let's look at Jen's page. And I thought hers was so beautiful. And I think the 2 go together really well. And it'll be fun to have them side by side in the tiny town as Matchstick Mouse travels to a friend's house to bring some warm, comfy, cozy goodies. And looking as happy as she and her friends are. So thank you, Jen, for doing this page with me. I love Matchstick Mouse, and I think I have almost all of them. And so if anybody feels so inclined to do a buddy, just let me know, and I can always pull Matchstick Mouse out. So thank you, Jen. Thank you so much. Okay, I finally did a page out of this wonderful color by number. Now, I have a few of these Disney Hatchet Heroes. I have Tomb 10, I have the 2 Looney Tunes, I have 2 Mickey ones, and I have Love Stories. I'm really, my next purchase, when I'm ready to purchase from Lyrica again, is I really want Tomb 11, the one with Bambi that has the double pages. That one, I think, really would float my boat a lot. I believe I got this one used. Yeah, I didn't order this one. This one was used off of Mercari for really cheap. And I don't think it had anything done in it, actually. No. Because I'm not so much into the lovey-dovey prince and princesses kissing, but it was cheap, and I love these color by numbers. They bring me much peace, and so I got it. And this is the one I did. So this is Mickey and Minnie. I did this for Valentine's Day, but I didn't finish it in February. It took me February and March to do it. And I had a lot of problems with it. I had some streaking going on with some alcohol markers. I think that was a Thule Art that I was having trouble with, maybe. I didn't realize this book is very intricate, but I didn't realize how much it had so much of big swaths of color, and I should have done that in paint rather than paint markers. I say that every time. I need to somehow look ahead. I thought I did, and it looked like I should use it. They were small enough to use paint markers, but I really should have used paint on this instead. And then I had some smearing going on, it looks like, from the shimmery pink that I did. But, it's Mickey and Minnie with a heart-shaped kite. It was fun. It wasn't my favorite color by number I've done because it was just a lot of these colors. And looking at this book, the book even colors some things in. It's pretty intricate. I just happened to pick one that wasn't. I think I looked at the answers. Yeah, I think I did because I wanted to find a cute one. I don't know what I was thinking. But this one wasn't as much fun as the ones I did in the Fantastique book. That one's a lot of fun. But I'm glad I did it for Valentine's Day. And I want to do another one out of here soon. So that's Love Stories. Okay, my opus. I finally finished it. You saw this in my the hashtag that went out for color your love your color, color a heart, something, you know, it talks, and you talk about everything that you love. And my favorite page of the year so far was this page. My favorite, when I pulled out, I wanted to talk about, excuse me, let me start over. One of the questions was, what's your favorite page? And I pulled this out. And it's not because of the coloring. It's not because of any techniques I use. It's because of you all, that you went along with me on this journey, and the story that I told in that, that these are two of my roosters, and that this just means a lot to me. And you were there as I colored along with it. So I now have started a new opus, and I'll show you that in my March plans. I'm very excited. I call these opuses, I'm not even sure if I'm using the word right, but meaning that it's just a big endeavor that I'm taking on with no timeline. So I work on it a little at a time, chunk it out, and eventually I finish, and I'm sharing the process with you. So this was just fun to do it with you, and all of your encouragement. And I tried a lot of new things. Like this was the Kuretake Gansai granulating watercolors, which I love. They even have a little shimmer in them. They're just fantastic. There is 6 colors in it, and I hear Kuretake's putting out another one. They're bringing out another one with 6 more colors. So, wow, I'm so excited. These are by far the best granulating watercolors on the market, but there's only 6. So they're just so interesting. This was actually just a plain watercolor that I used, this yellow. The background is, this looks like Tim Holtz watercolor pencils that I've used, which I love on Kerby's books. I love using them. Then, yep, that's what I used on all these. And then this red is some acrylic. And then the shiny stuff is nail polish. There's gold glittery nail polish on the white rooster and red glittery nail polish on the black. So pretty easy. I blacked out. There was a lot of doodles and hidden objects and things right in here, and I just covered them all up. I made them just into roosters. So using acrylic. This is white acrylic paint and black acrylic paint. And I did it in layers and in stages, and I made sure to always do the strokes the same direction. And I let some of the page show through on the white. And on this one, I very much covered up all of the page, but I always left the strokes the same. And I did a matte black and a satin black, just to give it some dimension. So they do look like feathers, because both of these roosters have soft feathers. And so I think the softness came across really nicely. And then, of course, I love the nail polish glitter. I had forgotten that how much I like nail polish in coloring books. So I've got it out again, and I'm using it in a few things. So this was a lot of fun to do with you all. So thank you for giving me support in doing this, and I'm looking forward to the next one I'm starting in March. Now, in one of my favorite R.J. Hampson books, I did a buddy with Veronica at Veronica Dunn 66. And she chose, she really wanted to do the promenade page where Mr. Fogarty and his lady love are walking along, holding hands. She did the light version and I did the dark version. So let's look at my version first. I always like to do the dark version because there's less coloring. So here it is. This around here would be some Tim Holtz Distress crayons. I really was having fun with them this month, and I did a lot of pages with them. And then alcohol markers and super golden markers. That's what all the colorful stuff is. Got a little white gel pen going on there or something. And that's basically it. All the shading is done with alcohol markers. There's no pencil shading in there at all. And just had a really good time with this one. Had fun with the super golden markers, as I always do. And made it kind of a little sparkly and colorful as they walked along holding, well, I guess they aren't holding hands, are they? But we thought this would be good for Valentine's Day. And so we did this in February. So I'll show you here Veronica's. Now she did the day version. So you can imagine, you know, if you're walking along the promenade or walking along the river or wherever, having a nice little day date, and then maybe you do it another day, but you do it in the evening. I mean, how fun is that? And it's just, I love the way Mr. Fogarty gets translated into different dapper suits. And the lady having different clothing was fun too. It's always fun to see how people do these differently because they look like very different pages. But a lot of fun. So thank you, Veronica, so much for getting me back into this book. I've only done one other page in this book. And there's a new Mr. Fogarty coming out where he time travels and he actually goes out into space. Oh my God, Space Timber is going to be full of Mr. Fogarty. So I can't wait till that book comes out. So that was A Frog's Tale by the beloved R.J. Hampson. All right. Now the Fiction Kitten runs a group on Instagram that does spooky coloring, and they pick a page from 3 different Mythogorias every month. One Francois Gautier, and then usually an Alan Robert Book of Horror type page. So there's quite a few pages to choose from. You can do 0 or 1 or all of them or none, or whatever you want. And so I wanted to do more than I did in February, but I just had so much to do in February. I had a big plate. So I did it in order of my favorites because I knew I wasn't going to get to all of them. So I picked the one that they chose out of Undead Academy, and that was this one. So Undead Academy by Alessandra Fusi is a beautiful book. It's not gory at all. So if you're not into gore, but you do kind of like haunted, spooky, romantic, this is a great one. And it's basically an academy. It's kind of like a spooky Hogwarts school. It's a story, it's basically a story. It's all the characters that are involved in this school. So with the help of folks in the group, we're making stories up to all of these. And Color with Dan, who is a phenomenal colorist, he's in the group. He made up the story for this one. And this one is this is the Valentine's Ball for the Undead Academy, and these are 2 students. Well, it fell on a full moon, and this student is a werewolf. And so he turned into a werewolf and had a slight misguided altercation, but he ended up scratching her the night of the ball. And now she's cursed, and next full moon, she's going to start turning into a werewolf as well. But she doesn't care because their love transcends all. And so they're just dancing the night away at the ball. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. So you'll see a lot of these out. A lot of people have done this. I got the idea of a red moon from one of the other colorists. They did a red moon, and I just really, really liked it. Their red moon was much better. I struggled with the mediums in this. This page was hard because, once again, I was experimenting. I wanted to experiment with oil pastels, and the reason I'm doing so much oil pastel experimenting is because I'm not good at it yet, and I want to get good. Because oil pastels cover a big area in a short amount of time with the least amount of physical effort. So I think they can be a really good tool for me, but I'm just not quite good there yet with them. So I just experiment lots. So there's oil pastels all around here. And then I did her dress. Did I use alcohol markers? No. Oh my gosh, I did no alcohol markers at all on this page. That's crazy. I did either oil pastels or distressed gel crayons for this, and he came very quickly. It was so easy to do this fur with a gel medium, like gel crayons, or just rubbing different colors on and smushing it together. It really, he was fast. He was just a few minutes and he was done. And then I just struggled with the pastels and stuff on their clothing. And I ended up going over and over with different things. Eventually, I think I salvaged her dress by adding this white highlights, making it look kind of like it could be leather, but at least you're seeing the pleats. I kind of like that. And I did that with the pink too. And that's just like a white Posca and then rubbed. Or it could be a white Prisma pencil too, even. Did I write down what I did with it? No. Yeah, so these are Tim Holtz gel crayons for him. And oil pastels for back in here, but didn't work out so well. So then, for her, I remember doing her in acrylic, and I struggled with the coloring. I just really struggled with this, and it was the mediums I was using. I did Tim Holtz watercolor pencils, I think, in here. So there's just a lot of gel and oil pastel mediums, and I am getting better. but not quite there yet. But I learned a lot on this page. And then the glittery stuff around here is nail polish. So the whole page is shiny because I'm using up the last of that Krylon, the Kamar fixative that I use. It says it's matte, but it always dries shiny for coloring pages. And so I just bought some matte, another one that says matte. It's Mod Podge spray fixative. I like the spray fixatives because then I don't rub the colors. And I'm going to try that next to see if it truly is matte. But if I hold the page a certain way, it's not too bad on your eyes. But I had to fix it first because of all the gel crayon and stuff I used. I couldn't show it to you without, I couldn't really close the book without it smearing. But yeah, I thought it was fun. I mean, it's not as good as I'd like it to be, but it's fun. This month in March, a page in here made the cut. And let me show you what it is. It's the music instructor who's playing a cello. I love this book. I could see doing every single page in here. This book, the story, that it's this Undead Academy is so much fun. And it's so much fun making up stories for every page. It's making the book more personable and more exciting because every page has a story to it. Oh, I love this one. See, this is the academy right here, and this is the lake outside of the academy, and I want to do this really badly. Hold on, let me get the page for this. Here it is. I think we've decided this is the music instructor and his cellist, and he's like King Cthulhu type guy. I think he's the Kelp. I think we call him Kelp. We have a name for him. And because he's got tentacles and everything. A lot of fun. I'm going to go back to my tried and true way of coloring in Mythographics and Mythogorias. I was trying just new things, but I don't like it as well. The way I do it is base it in alcohol marker. That seems to work the best. Alcohol marker is beautiful on this paper. So that's just what I'm going to do. And then I'll put embellishments on top because I always love pages when I do that and they go much, much faster. So then fussing around with things like I did on this one and then not even really liking the end result. So yeah, for this one, we're going to do lots of blues and greens and because it looks like he's even underwater. So maybe he teaches class underwater and the students have to, use special spells so that to breathe underwater to go to music class. I love that idea. So that's Undead Academy. And that's what I did in February and what I'm going to do in March. Okay, so in my mythographic journey, I am right now just working mythographs that are untouched. So I've had a couple people ask to do buddies with me in other books. And I'm like, I'm really just first off, the first part of this year, I want to get all of them touched. So mostly everybody's been really cool with that. And they've been willing to shift to another page to buddy with me, like my current buddy, Becky. Now, Becky was my buddy for this page, and she's budding with 2 pages with me in mythographics that are untouched for me in March, and you'll see that in the March plans. But we did something out of Magic Apothecary, which I hadn't touched yet, and this book is difficult for me. It's Shelley Carroll, who I love. I love everything Shelley does, but this book, a lot of the pages don't make sense to me, and I just don't know what I'm looking at. But I'm determined to color in it because they're beautiful. I'm just not sure what they are. And we did the snakes page. Now, I had an idea for this snakes page. And I did not get there with the snakes page. I totally planned on making these snakes look like glass. And then that's not what happened at all. In fact, this one looks like it could be, I guess. It's got kind of a galaxy going on, but this looks like it's kind of made out of wood, which as I started coloring it, I liked that look. So they're not. This didn't turn out anything like what I planned in my head, but it turned out really well. I love this page, which put me onto this book. I mean, this book I didn't know what I was looking at, but it came along just fine. So what I used here is, there was, I'm looking at my notes. I used my Albrecht Dürer, which worked really well. In fact, no alcohol markers at all. So I used Albert Durers a lot in here with polys on top, and that was for the snakes. And I thought it worked really well. And then the outline here is some Lango gel pens, right? I outlined things. I actually accentuated the lines. But I did Albert Durers for the coloring. So what I would do is just kind of make messy colorings, and then it would just look like a light pink, a medium red, and a dark red blob. And then I would go over the lines with Lango gel pens, and it made it look like, oh, watercolor. It suddenly brings everything together, right? I did the same with the wings. Just various colors, and then I went over the lines with the Lango gel pens, actually, instead of covering the lines, bringing the lines back. And, you know, sometimes it looks kind of stained glassy down there, but it's more just, it was really fast and kind of easy. Same with the leaves, although I went over the lines, making the lines more blend in. But look, the crystals were the same way. Kind of a gradient of oranges and yellows, and then I just took a yellow one over all the lines. It's kind of the way I did this whole page. And it was really fun. Did I use anything else in here? Ink tints. And then this is Thule Art pens. This is a Thule Art brown. So something must be ink tints, and I don't know what. I don't know. I mean, so I can't tell what's ink tints and what's Albert Durer, but I really liked it. I thought it turned out really pretty. Different colors for me than I normally do, but I really liked it. So, do I have Becky's? Becky, I have yours, don't I? If I do, it's here, because I thought I remembered seeing it, but we did this so long ago. So if I got Becky's, it's there, and if I got Becky's, I've looked at it, and of course I probably loved it. But I think this page was really interesting. And once, it was kind of like a puzzle, like I didn't know what I was looking at the beginning, but when I started picking away at it, it started becoming clear. And maybe that's the key to this book. Maybe when we look at that book and we find stuff, it's like, pretty sure what that is. I'm not sure what all I'm looking at, but maybe once we start picking at it and coloring certain elements, like, oh my gosh, it just looks like such a mess. But maybe it becomes clear as, that's beautiful. So yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful book. And for some people, this is their favorite mythographic of all, because it's really different from all the others. And some people didn't like it at all and sent it back. Me, I'm going to buy every mythographic and mythogory. I'm going to keep them all. But this one's growing on me just because this page turned out so well. So thank you, Becky. And I can't wait to work on pages for March. And you'll see those in my March plannings video. Okay, Drew Mice. This is from my dear friend Suzanne in Norway. And I love this book so much. I love every page in it. And I did a buddy, and my buddy was Evelyn, the Coloring Mermaid. And here's her. Let's look at hers first, because it's beautiful. We did that cute little house. It looks like a little hamster that's in that acorn house, but I don't know what it is. It's adorable. It's cute. This sort of thing could work in Color a Tiny Town too. But she did such a beautiful job. Now, I think, did I see hers before I started mine? I can't remember if I did or not. But I decided I wanted to, once again, try a bokeh background. So keep in mind how beautiful Evelyn's is. Now let's look at mine. So I started a tutorial. I was actually following in a book. I've got a book that does step-by-step how to do a bokeh tutorial. So I started doing it in a video so I could do it along with you, following the steps. And I hated it. It turned out it was so hard. They were doing it all in pencil. So you do like a darker green, a lighter green to the lightest, and then you leave this just the color of the page. Where I made it yellow, it's just the color of the page. And then you'd go back and blend it, and they recommended Prismas, so I used Prismas. I did everything they said. Yes, it was turning out kind of nice, but I could see the pencil markings, and I don't like that. I don't like to see pencil markings. It's just a thing with me. And it was taking forever, days and days and days, just to get a little bit done. And I hated the process. I hated the way it was looking. I didn't like it. So I ditched that video. I ditched that tutorial. And I started trying using different faster mediums to see if I could get this green gradient. So up here is where a lot of the pencil was. So then I went, I'm like, well, I could match that with watercolor paint. So I tried watercolor paint, but it didn't work very well. And then I went to just some gel crayons or gel pastel, or I mean, oil pastels or any kind of crayon type thing. And I think that's eventually what I used, but I worked on this background way too much. I did put yellow in it. I did put some gold glittery nail polish in the middle, anything to try to salvage it. I don't like it at all. I don't like it. And it was too much work. So I still can't do a bokeh background. I love the rest of the page though. Hate the background, but love the rest of it. And I used Tim Holtz watercolor pencils and in all of this. Loved that. It worked really well on this paper, just like it does on Kerby. And what else did I do? I'm looking at my, that's it. So all the rest of the good parts I like was Tim Holtz watercolor pencils, which I loved. And I did even the caterpillar that way. All of it's that way. And the little hamster guy. Those watercolor pencils are just so much fun. And I use them in a lot of pages. They just are super fast. This was done in a day, in one session of coloring. This took almost the entire month. And I hate it. So, still working on that bokeh background. But this was a lot of fun, and I do love this book. This book, every page in this book is delightful, absolutely beautiful. So thank you so much for doing a buddy with me, my friend, the mermaid, and I look forward to doing another one with you. Okay, so you may have seen this in my Color the Love the Color, you know, that hashtag where I talked about my favorite background, because that's this one. And I did this in February. And this was a tutorial from Cat and Paste that I followed, and I can link that below in the description so you can find it. And it was all how to put pebbles on a page. And I had already done the crab, and then I decided, what am I going to do for the background? I should have figured it out beforehand. But I remembered this pebble background that Cat and Paste had done, and I think she did hers in a Johanna Basford book. And so I looked up her tutorial video and watched it, and it isn't that hard. She makes it, I mean, it's based in watercolors. Yes, it looks very realistic and it looks very hard, but it isn't. It's just lots of layers of stuff, and it didn't take me very long. It was 2 evenings of coloring to do that. But I had already made the crab kind of fanciful and glowy, and so he doesn't really work so well with this realistic background. If I had known I was going to do a realistic background, I would have done a realistic crab. But I'm so glad I did this because it wasn't hard, and I would do it again. It was really enjoyable. And then I was working with some people in a group, and I was asking them, how do I make it look like he's in shallow water? And I had put these darker lines, and someone suggested putting white along with the darker lines, and I think that helps. It's still not perfect, but I think it kind of gives the impression that he's underwater, right? So, but really what steals the show is that background. And I would highly recommend y'all check that video out. Again, it's not hard. You start with watercolor paint, and that it's all about splotchy light layers over and over and over again. And then when you finally put this black in between, it just sort of makes the whole thing come to life. So that was a lot of fun. So I'm working on hers to match this page, and I toyed with the idea of making the pebbles come over in here, but I decided that was too much. And I might make some of them like I have over here, I might make a few along here, but I think I might make her background sand. I think that'll be fun. So working on this double page, this one right here, but this is what I finished in February. And a lot of you gave it a lot of love on Instagram, so thank you so much. It's definitely my favorite background I've ever done. And thank you, Kat, for teaching me how to do this. Okay, another mythographic I did, and this one was in February, and this was with Sophie's coloring journey. Sophie and I wanted to work at a fairy wonderland. I haven't done very much out of fairy wonderland, And she suggested a few pages, and we decided on this whale. So this is the whale page. This is not my favorite page I've ever done. I had a different idea for it, and it kind of got away from me. I did want to do a lot of pastels and stuff, but I think taking out all the lines made it a little bit hard to see what's going on, or just putting, all this was crystal, and I decided to make part of the whale crystal too, but I think it made it very difficult to see what's going on. And then making the clouds all shimmery, and I really wanted to make it kind of a dreamy land, but I don't think it's easy to see what's going on. Plus the whale blue and the sky blue is really close. I enjoyed doing it. I thought it was fun, and I think the child stands out like I wanted, and I love this gold path. And it was just a lot of bling, a lot of different metallic watercolors with no alcohol markers. What does it mean not using alcohol markers? What did I use on this? I just went on a hunt. I just went on a gel crayon and type kick. But this was my Albrecht Dürrs and my Polly's. And then I just got the Shuttle Art gift glitter pens as a gift. And so that's what all the bling is Shuttle Art glitter pens. And that was a lot of fun. All this, and this here is some watercolor, but it's watercolor that comes off, and I think I'm going to throw it away. It's a CSY. It just doesn't work. I have to really glob it on, and then I have to spray fixative on it. It just doesn't really cut it. But yeah, there's a lot of glittery, shimmery stuff in here. The Albrecht Dürrs, of course, I'm really enjoying in these books. And they're becoming my second favorite thing to use in mythographics after alcohol markers. But yeah, this one kind of got away from me. But let's look at Sophie's. And that was out of the Mythographic Fairy Wonderland, which is gorgeous, of course. It's by Fabiana Attanasio, so how could it not be? But it is a beautiful mythographic. Okay, this is a book that I recently got and have not flipped with you yet. This is the gorgeous Disney coloring book. And it's by Inko Katoriyama, who is one of my favorite Japanese artists. And this is the one with Rapunzel on the front. I know you've seen it in a lot of places. You have to buy it from a Japanese site, or you can find it used, which is what I did on Mercari. I found it used, and it was really affordable. I think I got it for like $10 or less. Can't remember, but even including the shipping. So I was thrilled. Absolutely uncolored in. And what I did was another Mickey and Minnie for Valentine's Day. This book is probably one of my favorites now in the collection. It's my first and only Japanese coloring book. So it's very exciting for me to get it. I'm always scouring sites for used Japanese coloring books. And this one is just, I knew it would be awesome. I mean, not all the pages are my topic of choice, but I don't care because the paper's great and it's fun to color. And her artistic style is just beautiful. So this is Mickey and Minnie, and this uses a lot of stuff. I started with some oil pastels back in here, and I kept going with the oil pastels. And they work really well on this paper, and I did as much as I could. I did the trees and the foliage and everything in oil pastels, which made them go really fast. And then I used Albrecht Dürrs in here for this house, and with Polly's on top, which is a great combination I found. I had some chalk pastel, and I think that's, not exactly sure where I used that. Maybe this is the chalk pastel. I remember I put it in last so I wouldn't smear it. And it was a Faber-Castell set of chalk pastels that I had gotten used off of eBay or something. And so I just wanted to try them out. There was a lot of new mediums to me that I tried out using on this page. The Tim Holtz watercolor pencils, of course, is in there. Somewhere. There's some acrylic pens in here. There's, the Langu pens are helping clean some things up. Some acrylic pen in here. Looks like some stuff smeared. And then I had just gotten a set of Color Soft, Derwent Color Soft colored pencils off of Mercari. And so I used them in here, and I really like those pencils. I like them a lot. I think they're just soft enough for me. The really soft, smushy ones like Prisma, I'm okay with, but I'm more of an oil pencil colorist. and with layers and a lighter touch. And those color softs are just perfect, I think. But I thought it was fun and colorful and bright and, you know, had some realistic spots and some really cartoony spots, and just really enjoyed it. And as my first page in this book, this book is going to be a favorite of mine, let me tell you, because it's just, they're so cute. The pages are so cute. Look at that. That was another one I thought about doing for February. I just love this book. Inko Toriyama is a favorite of mine. She has very cute cartoony style and lots of round lines, and, you know, it's not sketchy, yet it still looks like an artist drew it. And I'm sure some of these characters are probably cut and paste with her drawing the stuff around it. That might be how it goes, but I just think this book's fun. And it's all friendship and love and, you know, right? Like, not necessarily my topic of choice, but just coloring these pages is such a joy that it's wonderful. So this is the book. It has a dust jacket on it. It says Inko Toriyama. It says Disney. It is translated into gorgeous Disney coloring book, and it's the one with Rapunzel on the front. Let me get you the ISBN. Here's the ISBN. Yeah, right there. So a lot of fun. What's in the back? Usually in the back they do different sorts of things. Yeah, there's some cards that you could color and cut out, but it's still the same soft paper. It's very soft cotton-like paper. So, and it's double-sided, so you can't use alcohol markers in it, but I think it's a wonderful book. So that was my first page out of this untouched book. So Mythographic Vengeful Forest, one of my two most color and Mythogoria Vengeful Forest. This is my most colored in Mythogoria. My most color in Mythographic is Cosmic Spirit, but I love this Mythogoria. This is Shelley Carroll. This is always going to be one of my very favorites, and I love working out of it. In February, the group picked a page out of here. The Fiction Kittens Mythogoria group picked a page, and I did it. And actually, it was in January, and it was the Wendigo. So I did this in January. Now, I used a few things in it. I used alcohol markers, but not everywhere. Yeah, there's alcohol markers. The blue is alcohol markers, and I think the green trees. Yes, the green trees and the wicker. This wood, all of the wood, the blue and the green trees is alcohol marker. Then the Wendigo himself, though, I did not. He was... Oh, I used my cheaper pencils. I used Spear Farben and Black Widow. I have them together in a pencil case, and I use them. Those are my favorite budget pencils. Spear Farben more than Black Widow. And I think actually the new Ohuhu ones, the Malawa, they outbeat the Black Widows for sure. But I had those in the same case, and I had them at work, so I used them. And their kind of sketchiness, and because, you know, they're budget friendly, really worked for this bone. And that's kind of what I was hoping for. I didn't want really great coverage. I wanted it kind of sketchy, and because, you know, it's bone. It's not black, but I wanted it to look like dirty, dingy bone. And I love Wendigos. You know me, I'll color any Wendigo I find in any book. And so I'm trying to do each one of them a little bit different. The last couple I've done with real like sinew and bone. And this is probably more sinew than bone in here, but I kind of did it all that color. I did everything the same color, and I kind of liked it that way. It's just different. It's a different sort of Wendigo for me. I did he's breaking through a dream catcher, which I think is brilliant. Thank you, Shelley. And so I used a super golden marker for the broken threads on the dream catcher. And then, was there anything else I used in here? Nope, that's it. And this was for that group again, so you probably saw a few of these come out in January, but loved it. Have been meaning to do this one for a while now, and was so glad that the group chose it. Then in February, I did another page out of this book with Coloring Biker Mama. No, with Coloring Mom, Paula. I'm always mixing those two up. Let me pull up what I did, what I used. Mythographic, Vengeful Forest. Yes, this is with Paula at Coloring Mom. And this one I struggled with. I don't like some of the things I did, and I love some of the other things I did. It came out the colors I had in my head. I just was a little tired that day. I was having a crash day, and I didn't make some well thought out decisions in a few things. But that's all right. We do that. These were a lot of, let's see, the tree I did first, and I used paints, watercolor paints, and I just sort of layer and layer and layer to kind of give it some depth, and kind of kept the lighter stuff in the same areas and the darker stuff in the other areas, just so that these eyeballs would really pop out. And I think they do. I like that. And I knew I wanted the wings, not my typical fairy colors. I wanted to make the wings a bronzy color. So I did them first. And this bronzy color, which is getting everywhere. What paint was that? That's falling apart on me. Oh, I think it's this. I think it's this cheap stuff. Yeah, it is. I don't know if I've sniffing it. I had to sniff it. I don't know. Let me sniff it again. I haven't fixed this. That's the problem. That's why it's coming up. These cheap metallic pens, they need paints. Oof, it's getting late. They need to be fixed. So I'll spray fix this tonight so that we can quit getting that everywhere. But it's making the whole page shimmery, which is kind of fun. The rest of this is kind of acrylic markers and stuff, and that's where I was tired, and I was just sort of phoning it in, and I wasn't putting any shading or anything on. So they're just sort of blobby, the mushrooms are. And then I did a fun another sparkly watercolor out of this set. One of these for the background here. So just where I didn't like it is I didn't care for the green that I ended up using on the fairies, and then I didn't like the green acrylic pen I used to add the lines back in. And so the fairies didn't turn out the way I wanted them to turn out. But again, I was just having a tired day and just really needed to get it finished. I do like the wings. I do like the tree. I mean, overall, it's what I was thinking. It's just not done with very much care or skill. It's just slopping color down on paper, which is perfectly fine, you know. There's so many, we have so many pages. We're going to have pages like this. And I like looking at it. So that's what I did with Paula. Now let's look at hers. Here's hers. And her fairies, she also did the wings glittery. She said, oh, yeah, we're both doing the glittery. Yeah, they're both metallic, but that's kind of where the comparison ends. Her pages are, especially in this book, her pages are amazing. We do a lot of buddies out of this book, and it's so much fun. She always interprets it in such a fresh and unique way, and the colors she uses, I just love her pages out of this book. So it's fun. We're planning on another one soon. I think we're doing Baba Yaga, right? I think that's at the beginning of this book. Yeah, we're going to do this page in April because I was doing other mythographics and mythogorias for March. I've already got that set. So we're going to do this in April. I love this page. I think Baba Yaga is hysterical. I think this particular depiction of her is really funny. So looking forward to doing that. So that's Vengeful Forest of Paula and I's favorite book. We love to team buddy out of this. So thank you, Paula, so much. Whew. How are you holding up, my friends? I know I'm getting tired. This is a long video, isn't it? But it's so much fun sharing these pages with you and having you here in my cabin this evening. I really like it. So this is a book that I recently got. When my client went to Walmart one day, I found this on the shelf. And it's so funny. Color your demons and send them screaming back to hell. It's campy. It's tongue-in-cheek. This is Exorcist coloring book by Alessandro Valdrici. And it says something on the back that really cracks me up. We've all got demons. We've all got demons. Some of us choose to color them. And I'm going to be flipping this in its own flip. I've been meaning to. I just haven't been able to get to it yet. But it's all really campy type. Like here's an alien surgery. I mean, it's all really campy style of scary. It's not really scary stuff. You know, the waitress with the knife behind her back. It's just really fun. And I, of course, did the cow abduction page because I had to do this one first. So this was super easy. These are oil pastels in the back, oil pastels all over the grass. It's, I think alcohol markers. Yeah, alcohol markers for the cow and for the beam here. All the cows, these are actually acrylic back here. They're little, but I used alcohol markers on him. You know, and just acrylic for the little accents, the grass, the, you know, acrylic markers like Thule Arts for everything else. And then this is alcohol marker. And then I used a silver. And what silver is that? It doesn't say what silver pen I used, but I used a silver pen for the underside for the alien spacecraft here, which I really think make this a very simple page. I think that was a good choice there. And I didn't bother to color the cow. I just put the yellow. I made sure everything in the beam was just yellow alcohol markers. So I just think this entire page is hysterical. And then I painted it blue on the edges, but I just think the whole page is hysterical. The close-up of the cow licking its nose, and then in the background, the cow's getting abducted, and none of the cows seem very concerned. It's funny. This was an untouched book. I did this in February. I really look forward to working in this book again. It's just a thin, cheap, probably paid more than I should have. Yeah, it says here it's $16, which is crazy because the paper's kind of thin. I mean, it's better than Amazon, but yeah, it's not a $16 book, but I couldn't resist it. It's so much fun. And I'll do a separate flip through of this. Okay, Dark Fairies. I have a group, an Instagram chat group of Dark Fairies, and we pick a fairy every month or so, but then we'll go a couple months and we'll decide to skip a month just to catch up. And then when we're all caught up again, we'll start again. We'll pick another one. So it's really cash. These pages can be intense in here. They are extremely detailed. Like that's one of the least detailed ones I've ever seen, but they get crazy details. And we have picked some of the craziest ones. So what we did in January was this one. And I really love how she turned out. She's a lot of stuff. All of her throne is pencil. And it's a couple of different pencils because I started with one brand and ended with another because I didn't have the right ones at work. So I think some of this is Prismas and the rest of it ended up being the Ohuhu pencils. Same with the apples were all Prisma. I tried to keep, because the Prisma worked the best for these smooshed apples. And then now see, this is single-sided. But for some reason, I'm not using alcohol markers in this book. I don't know why. The paper is wonderful. Maybe that's why I'm using other mediums. But I just don't like also messing up the back of this. But this one's called Mirror Mirror. And there's some acrylic in here. This looks like the Black Sakura Glaze pens. There's some shiny red stuff. That is more than likely fingernail polish. And it's on top of an already acrylic painted. I did the acrylics first for this part of her throne or whatever it is, and then I put the red fingernail polish over it all. So it's really shimmery and shiny, but a lot of this is pencil. She's all pencil. It's largely pencil, and it took a while, and then the black acrylic for around here. And I swore last time I did a mostly pencil page, I'd never do that again. Well, here it is. Here's another one. And when I got done with this one, I swore I'll never do it again. But you know I'm gonna. It just, every once in a while, you got to do an all pencil page, and because it looks so phenomenal. This is one of my favorite pages of the year so far. So I just think she turned out exactly the way I wanted her to turn out, which wasn't clear for a long time. I changed my mind several times throughout the page of what I wanted. I never had planned on making her blue, but it just worked out well that way with everything so red. So this was a lot of fun. And you probably saw a few of these on Instagram. It's quite a large group that's working on this, but we don't all finish every page. But I did finish January's eventually, and I did finish February's right at the end of the month. And here's February's. This is a Serpent of the Sea. This is one of the male fairies in the group. This is all paint. The white is more Posca that's been smeared with my finger, but the rest of this is all paint, and I think it's acrylic. Yeah, I used different acrylics that I had just out of the bottle. And then he is mostly Languo gel pens, those little pens. That's what he is. There are some bright colors in there, and I really, for some reason, wanted to make him super bright. I was probably the last person to finish this page, and I'd seen all of their pages, and they were really, really good. And every color theme had been used, and I really wanted to do something different, but I couldn't think of what. And I started with this bright green. And then I just had to go from there because I committed, because not much goes over those Languo gel pens. And so that's what he ended up being. Super bright, super vivid, really shows up on top of this stormy sea and sky. And it's crazy colors, but I kind of like it. I really do. Kind of reminds me of like an anime character, like on something you'd see on Netflix or something. Because there's nothing about him that says that he's actually in nature. He's some sort of cartoon character. But I really like him. I do a lot. And then we're taking a break for March while we catch up. So we don't have one picked for March. So that's in Dark Fairies, which is one of my favorite books. All right, Wildflower Folk. This was a buddy with Poles coloring, Lil. She just changed her name. I will find out what that is and put it on the screen here. We have done a few buddies in here in this one. I can't do this book every month. Portraits are intense for me, but I am enjoying doing them, but I don't enjoy them enough to do them every month. So I kind of need breaks. So I do them now and then. And a lot of them have been done with Lil. And so what we did was we wanted a cute little fairy. And I think a lot of you did this page for February because I saw a lot of them. There it is. And we did this page, little Faye darling, sweet little girl. I don't know what possessed me to do the background like that, but that was the only thing I knew that I wanted was pink background. So I did that first. And that was a Tim Holtz gel crayon. So I just put it on and smeared it in and used, cotton swabs and other things to get into the cracks and just made this bright pink. I love this pink. Just made this bright pink background. And then I was like, okay, now what? Well, I knew I wanted a lot of shimmery stuff. So for her, she's in pencil. She is Prismas. So I used Prismas on her and just sort of faded her with yellows and greens and blues. There's a little pink in there. Just kind of used quite a few different colors on her. And then I had fun with my super golden markers. I went to town. Now the yellow base, I based her hair in the Tim Holtz gel crayons with yellow, but then I took the super golden markers and just did it. Went. And then her shimmery dress and the shimmery flowers is a shimmery paint, which is probably one of these. I was really giving this a good try in March. And I do like them. I just need to remember to spray fix them at the end. So that's what all that is. Now this mushroom looks like it's a watercolor of some sort. I'm not sure. Oh, no, it's the gel crayons. It's just the fixative making it look like a watercolor. So, yeah, I think she turned out really fun. She wasn't that hard to do. I do like the colors of her eyes a lot and her face. I like how that all turned out. I tried new things, new techniques with her, especially her skin color, and really liked it. So I had a good time. I went nutballs with the super golden markers. But that's what I do. I love those things so much. So, yeah, moving it around so that the fixative isn't glaring too much on you. What do you think? I think she's cute. So here is Lil's. And, of course, beautiful. She's a master at this book. She is so good. The skin is so flawless. And her characters are just so realistic. It's just nuts. It's always very wonderful and very humbling to color with her in this book. But I learn a lot. I do. I really do. And thank you so much, Lil, for coloring in this with me. It was really a good time. And it was fun to do a little cute little fairy for February. That was great. So that was Wildflower Folk by Christine Caron. So this book was an untouched book. I got this in a set of 3. I got the animals, the villains, and another one of this Art of Coloring series. I got them off of Mercari, and I got all 3 for $10, which is crazy. A lot of people don't like these because they're very repetitive and very, especially this one too. There's a lot of like this, like wallpaper stuff. But I've kind of gotten into it lately, and I want to use them to alter. And then everything is very doodly. This isn't Zen doodles. This is just doodly, doodle for doodle's sake. But acrylic covers everything. So I did this. Now this had as much doodling as you saw in that. All the character was full of doodles, but acrylic covers everything. So this is acrylic. It's acrylic pens. It's the Languo pens. It's Thule art. It's all acrylic. The background is an oil pastel, and then there's got super golden markers for the shiny stuff. But the rest of it's acrylic, and I made it into just a regular old Disney page. You don't have to color those doodly things. It's still a fun Disney page. You can just cover them up. The one thing I'm really proud of are these lotus flowers, and those were done with those Languo gel pens. I wish I would have filmed it. I put 3 of them, the dark pink, the peachy pink, and the light pink in my hand. I took the caps off. I have them in my hand, and I went dark, medium, light, and at that fast, they're not dry, and you can blend them. And that's how I did them. And so those are blended, and they turned out really nice. And now that I know you can do that with those acrylic paint pens, because they do dry quickly, which is wonderful, because they're not meant to be used like this. But you can use them like that, and they come out very realistic looking, which is super cool. So the lotuses turned out really realistic, and I love them. And I'm going to be doing more blending with those acrylic paint pens in the future. But I chose to keep the pattern on him and her right on her tummy. I thought those were great. I actually drew in that plaid and those patterns there. But I covered up all the other patterns and made it just into a regular old page. Yeah. So I figured getting it for this book being like $3.50, it's pretty good to get some fun Disney pages with some fun patterns. Now there is flip through of all 3 of these. It's all together in one video on my channel, so feel free to check it out if you're interested, because you can find these on every resale site everywhere for super cheap. It seems like everybody's dumped these once they got them, so you can find them for super, super cheap used and brand new condition. Out of all 3, only 1 had any coloring in it, and it was just part of a page, and that was it. I got all 3 for $10. So yeah, check out that flip through video of mine and see if these are pages that you might have fun altering and changing and coloring, because definitely cheap coloring material. My dear friend Tammy at Tammy Colors 2, she sent me a box of books. She was destashing and she just grabbed some and she sent them to me. And I've been meaning to go through them with you to show you what she sent, but I've been started coloring in them, so you might just see them popping up in my coloring, because everything she sent me was wonderful. I still am going to go through them though with you, but this was one of them. I've never done a color by color before. So this is Stained Glass Mandalas by Kira Shishneva, and Kira does these color by color books. And I'd never done them, and she said she just didn't get into them. She loves color, and she loves these books. She loves color by numbers, but she just wasn't getting into the color by colors. So she sent me 2 of them. And this is the mandala book, so I started in the back using alcohol markers. And I thought that was so pretty. I also then, I kept the stained glass look by trying to stay inside the outlines. Oh, I forgot one right there. See, that's what they look like. they have the blue, the outline already there. So I tried to color like a light, one color lighter of that so that you could still see it and it would look like stained glass. So that was a lot of fun. Now the alcohol markers really soak into this paper. This is the premium paper, which I love, but it does soak in and makes it a slightly duller than what the colors really are. So I think I'm going to try in some of the more intricate ones. Did I do another one? No, I was going to. See, here's what they look like. Isn't that fun? You just pick a color that's like that. And it tells you what it is here too. But I think I'm going to try water-based markers and see if they keep their brilliance. You could do anything with these. You could do acrylic. You could do anything with a pencil. I think you could do pencil, but why? Markers are better. I just thought that turned out so nice. Thank you, Tammy. This book is so meditative and fun. And I've been looking for it because I wanted to do some more and I couldn't find it. And then I realized it was in my completed pages pile to be shown on in video. But this is just, I mean, you don't even have to think. This is the least thinking you have to do. This is color by number without any numbers. You just pick a color that matches those colors. Or you could pick one that's the opposite. You could pick one that's opposite on the color wheel. That might be interesting. But what a beautiful book, huh? This was, I just tell you, doing this page was so fun. I couldn't stop. I just had to finish it in one evening, although I missed something right there. But yeah, really fun. Thank you so much. And thank you for that entire box, Tammy. I mean, I'm slowly going through them all. I made myself only open one book a night. And so that box lasted a while for me opening each book. And I'd lay down in bed and I'd grab one book out of the box and I'd be surprised at what it is. And then I'd look through it slowly. And it was my sort of nighttime ritual for quite a while because that was a big box of books. So I need to go through them with y'all and show them to you. They were really fun. So Color by Colors, Stained Glass Mandalas by Kira Shershneva. So we are getting towards the end of my end of January, all of February completed pages. Are you happy about that or are you sad? I love spending time with you. This is Serendipity, which is one of the newer R.J. Hampson books I've received. And this was a gift from Emily for my birthday in December. This is from Emily Colors. I love this book. I love the cover. I love everything about this book. And I did my first page out of this book, and it was in a group of people. It was Winter, 89 Colors, and Coloring Mom Paula. That's who I have written down. If there was anyone else that joined in the group later that also did it, I'll put them right here. And we did the Be Mine page because it was Valentine's Day. So this was what I did. And I think it's mostly alcohol markers. Yes, it's alcohol markers with super golden markers and some acrylic paint pens covering lines. So I made it all gold and pink. Very, very fun, very traditional. In my eyes, what was in the bottles was honey because there's a bee on top. So I made the bottles honey. I think everyone else put a different color liquid in there. But basically, it was a lot of fun. This is just sort of, this was a page that at first when I saw this page before the group and I got together, I was thinking I would never do this page. It was too, just things put together. But then the more I looked at it, the more I liked it. And then when Winter did her, I think she did her plans video, and she said that she was going to do this, I was like, oh my gosh, I was thinking about it as well. So I joined their group and did it with them. So let's look at what they did. Here are their pages. Beautiful, beautiful pages. And I think we all did versions of pink, but they're all so different. Some of them, I don't know, I liked the interpretation. I liked the liquid in the bottles, the colors that others chose. I love the way some things are glittery and some things are not in everybody's page. Everybody did it a little differently. Winter's, I think, is very realistic looking. And I think they're all just fun. This was just a really fun page to do. So thank you, ladies. Thanks for doing this page with me. And thanks for letting me join your group because I really had a good time. And actually, it went pretty fast because alcohol markers, I don't know why I just don't use alcohol markers on every single-sided page. But I've been experimenting with, Amazon paper to see what it can take. And I'm finding it can take quite a bit. It really can. So that was in Serendipity by R.J. Hampson. my first page. In another favorite book of mine, this gigantic, thick Villains color by number book. This is the book that I chip through little by little as I have extra paint. I go in and, you know, do a little here and do a little there. And this is also the book that I glue sort of a matching cardstock to make it so that you don't see my mess on this side. And I just think it really makes for a fun book. Well, I actually did an intentional page. You know, these are like, oh, I have some blue left over. I'll paint a little blue. Oh, I have some black left over, and I'll flip through. So these pages get done gradually, which is fun. But this was one I chose on purpose. So here's a page where I had a little bit of this blue. I had this blue left over from something else. So that's kind of how these pages get finished. And I work a lot in this book because I always seem to have a little bit of paint left over. But the one I did for March, I want to do, is this one. I had to do, was it March or was it February? I think this would, sorry, we're in March. This is February. I did this in February. This is Ka from A Jungle Book. Trust in me. And I found this cool. I've had this. This came out of like a packet of decorative paper that I got from Goodwill, from a charity shop. And it's just been hanging around. It's super ugly. I never use it. But I thought, I remembered I had it. And I was like, oh, that would go great with Ka. So that's the paper I used for him. This is all acrylic paint pens. That's all this is. No, didn't even use any alcohol markers. Yeah, this is all Thule Arts, mostly acrylic. And he is actually Albert Durst. I actually used, because I really wanted the colors to sort of fade and stuff on him. But everything else is acrylic paint pens. So I chose him out on purpose because A, he's one of my favorite Disney characters, but B, because I wanted to do a snake for the Year of the Snake. So there's Ka. This book is really filling up. I mean, it's a big book, but I love working out of it. It's a color by number. The numbers are in here, and then the numbers, you find the numbers in the back, and this folds out. So when you're coloring, you have your colors here and your numbers here. Pretty brilliant. However, I first thought it was a mistake, and the solutions are in the back and the front. I first thought it was a mistake because there are whole sections that don't have numbers in them, but then I realized just while doing Ka that the sections that don't have a number in them are because there's another section just like it. And there's one of them will have the number. So basically it's less numbers for you to cover up. You're just supposed to use your big brain and like, oh, that section 25 is all of these sections. So they only put 25 there, there, and there, but all of these sections are 25. You just kind of got to assume that and figure that out. And that way there's less numbers to cover up. So I actually kind of like that. So now that I've finally, after all these pages, figured out how this book works. Yeah, I love this book. You can get this off of Amazon. I bought it when it was brand new at Walmart, but you can get it off Amazon easy. Villains color by number. Whew. I am tired. This has been a long video, hasn't it? But we only have 2 left. So out of Mythographic Wanderlust, this was an untouched book of mine, and I'm trying to get through these. I now have only very few mythographics that haven't been touched. So I did this snake. Now it was sort of a last minute add-on. I was testing out the Ohuhu Halawa coloring pencils, the new coloring pencils they have, the oil pencils, and loving them. I tested them out on this page, so really liked them. It looks like I did alcohol markers for the tree only, but everything else is those pencils. And they are great. They really are. I'm going to be pulling them out and using them much more exclusively because they're just a lot of fun. And this snake was for the Year of the Snake. It was also for Kitten's birthday nudes. Kitten. There was a lot of hashtags for snakes in January and February, and this was done in February. And I really, really enjoyed it. This is a fun book. This book has the hidden objects. It's Alessandra Fusi, but at least it's not, I mean, it's really cool pages. They're very surreal. This is right about when Alessandra started cleaning up her style a little bit and making it a little bit easier to color. It's still a little, you know, a turtle with things on its back. It's still a little busy for busy's sake, but she tones it down even more. And now she's one of my favorite artists for Mythographic because I mean, she's always had a beautiful style, but it's always been just a little bit too busy. But it was getting better here. And her hidden objects are not as bad. The worst one is Fabiana Attanasio. Her hidden objects are terrible. They're very hard to cover up. There's way too many of them. But there wasn't too many here. I just colored them in. Sometimes I acrylic over them. But in this one, I just colored over them. And then I think there's a little of that clear Mod Podge stuff on his eye. But really enjoyed it. Liked the peaceful colors I chose. The ginkgo leaves. It's kind of minimal colors, actually. It's a minimal palette. But I find that when I do that, when I restrain myself and keep it to just 5 or 6 colors at the most, I like the page better. It's very peaceful on the eyes. So that was out of Wanderlust by Alessandra Fusi. And the very, very last one I did, well, not that I did, the very last one to show you that I did was done in January. And it is out of the Secret World of Frog. I love the Secret World of Frog so much. And I did this one. I did it for Color a Tiny Town for the prompt of Cozy, which was the prompt for January. We've had Cozy and we've had Companionship, like friends. There hasn't been a word put out for March yet. But this was for Cozy. I went nuts with the colors again. It's pretty dark. I went dark initially like I tend to do, and then I had nowhere to go. So the shading is odd. It's just but it is a cozy nook, even if it's dark. And I really wanted to do reds and pinks and oranges, you know, those kind of like colors that almost clash, but not quite, you know, that kind of stuff. The Prada colors, the bright pink and orange. And, you know, he's eating his croissant and he's got his steamy mug of something. And all those books. I thought this was as cozy as you can get. And I love the way the frog is sitting there with the legs crossed. It's just such an adorable little creature. I love Secret World of Frog. I've done 3 pages now. This was the first one I did. There's a lot of soft things in here, including eyeshadow. And that was the 3rd. The 2nd page I did was this one last fall, another cozy one where he was knitting. And that's all I've done in here. So I'm always up for a page of Secret World of Frog. Love this book. And that, my dear, dear friends, is it. Whew, that was a marathon, wasn't it? So the last bits of January and all of February. And now we're caught up. The next videos you'll see out will be March plans. There'll be some flip throughs, some happy mail that's coming. The tarot series is starting back up with Justice. And what else off the top of my head? Gosh, so much stuff. Oh, and the 2nd crime in a haunted high-rise is almost completed. So that will be out very soon. I still haven't figured it out, though, because I haven't finished it, and I don't look at the answer until I look at it with you at the end of the video. It's a tough one. It's tough. All right. So from my coloring space to yours here in my cabin in the woods, I wish you well tonight. I hope you have a nice, cozy evening, and I love you. Bye-bye.